Fundraising begins with the strategic plan. I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz. This is the first day from the fundraising school, and I'm joined today by Mladenka. Mlada is the CEO of the Yellow Dot Foundation in Croatia, where she and her colleagues are providing capacity building assistance and also strengthening philanthropic culture in Croatia and across Europe. And Mlada also has international influence through her expertise and her work. And Mlada, thanks so much for being with us on the Fundraising Schools podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me to talk about this important topic in fundraising.
Okay, here's an important topic I receive all the time when I'm teaching for the fundraising school. So Mlada and I met at the Central and Eastern Europe Fundraising Conference in Bratislava, Slovakia. And she says my last name better than I do. So Mlada, all the time when I teach her, so how do you say that last name? And folks who know me know that I just signed Bill Stan, ... just kind of leave it at that. How should I be saying my last name?
Well, I would say it in Croatian, Stančikiewicz, but maybe it can be pronounced also differently. But this is what comes to my mind when I read your last name.
Yeah, so thank you for teaching me that. And I asked Mlada, I said, certainly your last name is Majeric. And she's like, oh, no, Majeric for Croatian. So thank you for letting me have some fun with that, because, again, it is something that comes up from time to time, as does the importance of strategic planning in fundraising. And Mlada, people who are called into our sector, they have huge hearts. They care so much. And the information is in their heads and it's in their hearts, but they don't write it down in a strategic plan. How important is that strategic plan and the strategic planning process to being able to fundraise effectively?
Well, you can do it. You can fundraise without a strategic plan, of course, but it makes all the difference when you have strategy. It makes a difference because I see that all the time with the teams I work on strategic planning, because you align yourself and you align a team with a mission, with the goals, with activities, results. So basically, you just give a structure to something which is such an amazing work of fundraisers, but also NGOs in general. So I would always encourage teams to do strategic planning. It's actually also a team process. It's a process of getting to know each other better as well, to align with a mission and vision. And when we do vision and mission in a strategic planning, it's always a little bit of a just going beyond everything we do, just seeing ourselves in a different position. And then I would even say it's important because it gives us idea that we are not only fundraisers, or that we don't only do things for the mission, but we inspire others, we inspire people, we can change the society. And when we go in strategic planning on this higher level of what we can do and what is our impact and influence in the world, it gives us more strength. And strategic planning is a leadership tool, and it gives us a little bit more this idea and position and courage that we are the leaders. And then we have a strategy to help us to deliver what we need to do it for the community, for our beneficiaries in general.
Oh, so much good there in that answer to unpack, starting with who is involved. You talked about the actual process can build the team. Is this the board? Is it the staff? Is it both? Are there other people involved? Who should be involved in this process? And as the process continues, then how does that build teamwork and camaraderie through that strategic planning process?
Well, it will be good that the board is involved. Definitely. I do it in different ways. If some of the board members cannot be in live on a workshop, on a strategic workshop, then we do questionnaires and surveys with them. But it's good that we have a board people, all of them, or at least some. Then, of course, directors or managing directors, executive directors, and then staff. Staff should be involved, depending on how much staff we have. But in one way or another, they need to be part of the process. And I see it all the time when it's more of a, when you do strategic planning, it's more of a coaching, like team coaching. And then sometimes people use that as a place to communicate something which they don't communicate usually. And often in NGOs, we don't have time to sit down, to plan, to communicate. And then when we have this kind of strategic planning workshop for like 2 or 3 days, it's a really place for things to come out, things to be said, and then it's really good that we facilitate this process and somehow better align teams together. So it's important that the process is done properly.
We're taking time to step back. We're taking time to think, and we're allowing ourselves to be candid, constructively candid, to share ideas, to constructively disagree with each other. And through that whole process, we come closer together. And Mlada, I would think as a result, then, when the actual document, the actual plan is in place, we're able to communicate that plan very similarly, right? So instead of having lots of passionate people who all care about a cause, we're talking about that cause and we're talking about that mission in a consistent way. And I would think there's enormous value in that.
Yes, because we owned it. It's a process when you build ownership of the strategic plan. It's not that somebody wrote some kind of plan and then you have to deliver it. It's a process when you are owning the strategy. You are committed to deliver the strategy, and you know your place. Place meaning in a system. And we do always with during strategic planning, we do lots of thinking about the structure of the organization, organizational scheme, or organizational structure. What is the responsibility of each of the person in the organization? And it gives really lots of clarity, because usually when I ask people, what do you need from strategic planning? The first thing is always clarity. It's unbelievable. They always said we need clarity. And I sometimes I was surprised, but then I realized why, because maybe they just miss this clarity if things are done chaotic or not with a proper planning anyway.
Yeah, if I'm in the business sector, I have a product. That's my clarity. I'm going to sell this product. I'm going to sell this service, right? In the NGO sector, I want to eliminate poverty. I want to improve the climate. Okay, that's really big and in some ways really vague. And so the strategic plan can help us understand how we're ending poverty or affecting the climate in positive ways and what our role is in that, since we may not be able to do all of it by ourselves. And Mlada, there's this familiar phrase in the NGO sector: oh, we're going to have the strategic plan, it's going to sit on the shelf and it's going to gather dust. Now, I have to say, I cannot relate to that at all. When I led an NGO here in the States for 17 years, anytime I had an idea, my board took out the strategic plan and they said, okay, Bill and staff, show us in the strategic plan where this idea fits. And that strategic plan would inform our fundraising plan. And after 3 or 4 years, if we had accomplished everything or was getting a little stale, time for an updated strategic plan. So it can be an active living document and needs to be. And in the context of fundraising, Mlada, let me ask you, how then can the fundraiser take that strategic plan, the document? We have the teamwork, we built the teamwork, we have the clarity, we know who we are and why we are, we're talking about it consistently. How does that translate then into a fundraising plan and into the fundraising with donors?
Well, first, I just want to say you're completely right with things that strategic plan is a live document. So basically, it's a tool and you have to use it regularly. And actually, then you are translating it, or you're transferring it to operational plan, like annual operational plan, fundraising plan, communication plan. And fundraisers, they actually implement strategy. So they are, because in a strategy, it's lots about program and activities. And then when we are aligned around our programs and activities that we are doing, then we can use it much more easily in our fundraising plan, because we need what we have to provide, what kind of programs we are developing and actually implementing. But the thing is, also with the fundraising plan and strategic plan, there is this special model which is probably known very well, theory of change, because theory of change is that strategic approach toward the fundraising as well, because we see what outputs and outcomes and in the end impact we have through our activities, and then fundraisers actually know how to translate it into their own case for support and things they need to communicate to donors.
And since we're tackling these big issues, we're the first responders in some of the world's strongest challenges. The strategic plan shows us how we're going about that work. And a lot of donors want to make a difference. Funders want to make a difference. And it really seems that this strategic planning document that informs this theory of change, others talk about a logic model, an evaluation plan, how it shows the impact that we're making. That's all rooted in the strategic plan, and would seem then that helps fundraisers talk to donors. If the donors say, well, how are you alleviating poverty? Glad you asked. We have a strategic plan.
And it's interesting because my colleagues are telling me, with whom I work, strategic plan, that some of the donors told them, okay, we went to your website and we wanted to see whether you have a strategic plan. And then we went through your strategic plan. And so when we are doing strategic plan, we should also think and know that it is a communication tool toward the public. And it should be something visible and on your website. And it should be understandable to the people who are not working only in your organization. And I think that just without this strategic thinking and clarity in what is our strategy, it's really difficult also to do the fundraising.
And I know in the foundation world, it's the exact same. I know early in my fundraising career, I went to a foundation president and asked for a grant or if he would accept a grant proposal. And we talked about the idea. He said, oh, by the way, one more thing. Tell me, where does this idea fit in your strategic plan? Let me get back to you on that. It did. I just couldn't explicitly describe that. And I was ready for that question through the rest of my fundraising career because, yes, donors and funders are asking us about this as well. And Mlada, if I could get then kind of wrap up with one of the final points you made in your initial comment. We've talked about building team and clarity, bringing focus, being able to show our impact, how this all informs fundraising. You also talked about the power of the strategic plan to inspire. So we have these like functional and operational reasons. Can you talk again at more that higher level of how the strategic plan and the process are inspiring internally to us as board and staff, and also out to the rest of our community?
Well, the thing is that usually when we work in our NGO, in our organization, we are a little bit, we use the language, we understand, we know what we are doing. And then with my colleagues, when we do strategic planning, I always invite them to think differently and to communicate their vision and mission in a way that people can understand what they are actually doing. And this is something which is interesting because usually there is this kind of mindset, change of the mindset, when I go with them through this process, when they have to, like one sentence or two sentences, say their vision and their mission to be understandable to someone who will maybe for the first time come into contact with the organization. And here they changed this approach that they are not only delivering, but they are changing the world. They're changing, they're making an impact. And this is something by vision and mission, as I said before, is a special part of strategic planning. And here, when we do this right, when we motivate people, that when we build or when we elaborate vision and mission and define it in a really inspiring way, then the rest of the process of strategic planning is just having a different. It has different atmosphere, I would say. And the third thing, which is also important, are values, because our vision can maybe be similar to a vision of some other organization, because we are creating a world. Different world, and mission can also be maybe similar to some other organization, but then the values, how we are going to do it, it's something which really differs. It's something which is only it's unique to our organization, and it should lead our decisions. So here with values, we always have additional, I would say, place that we inspire ourselves and that we are accountable to live these values, not only to respect them as our organizational values, but really to live them.
All the points raised throughout this conversation, and that last one needs to be included. The strategic plan helps us know how we are unique. There are millions, literally millions of NGOs around the world. How are you different? And if you're not, why do you exist? Maybe you should merge with somebody else. But if you are unique and you are distinct, and you very likely are, the strategic plan helps you with that focus. And so we encourage NGO leaders. The idea is in your head. The passion is in your heart. Go through the strategic planning process, have that strategic planning document that provides the clarity, and use it to communicate with your donors and inspire your community. Mlada Majerek, thank you so much for being with us. Mlada is the CEO of the Yellow Dot Foundation and also an advisor to the Indiana University Lilly Family School Philanthropy for our Global Philanthropy Environment Index. She's an expert force in Croatia and in Central and Eastern Europe to guide that document. And Mlada, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us on the Fundraising School's First Day podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was really a pleasure and honor once again to be with you here today.
The Fundraising School has 27 courses leading to 5 different certificates in person in 10 U.S. cities, online anywhere across the world. We have our custom training. We have our quarterly webinars, the weekly podcast, and our textbook, Achieving Excellence in Fundraising, now out in its 5th edition. All this information available online at go.iu.edu/TFRS for the Fundraising School. Our producers are Mike Anthony and Jennifer Boffman. I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz. Now you are now more fully informed on this first day from the Fundraising School.